YouTube, what the crap's going on? Sorry, I clicked the wrong one. Now we're back. HeirofCarthage here, on Total War Rome 2. And this is the Blades Balance mod as usual. Someone was like, "Yeah, don't do this one, it's boring, it's not the same." It's almost exactly the same as vanilla. Like, the only changes are pretty small, so the Blades Balance mod is essentially vanilla with some of those things we wanted patched. And this is going to be a Tylis versus Sparta, which is interesting. I would easily give Tilis the advantage in this matchup, so I'm just curious to see how Sparta handles themselves, if at all, versus Tilis. 4 tribal warriors, looks like, in the center. A couple of Gallo-Thracian infantry on the right flank. That's an interesting choice. It is in the Blades Balance mod tournament rules, which is max 4 the same, max 8 swords, 12 infantry total, I think, is what you can bring. And 12 infantry is like melee or spear infantry, does not include your skirmishers. Levy Freeman over here, so a lot of sword units for Tylis. And a noble horse general, interesting. Let's see what Sparta's got going for him. Spartan pikeman, that's an expensive pike unit. Royal Spartan general, Spartan hoplites, Tarentine cav ought to actually, not in melee, but just like in terms of armor and stuff, ought to face off decent versus the raiding horsemen. Heroes of Sparta out here, and they ought to, actually they won't do super great versus these two swords out here. I mean, they're stronger technically, but I don't know that they're going to do particularly well. I don't know how Sparta's going to handle this one, to be honest. I mean, they have pikemen and some youths in the center, but we'll see. Let's just kind of see how this is going to play out. Tylis is going to do some scouting and push forward. Sparta's kind of got some woods in the center for mainline protection. I know there was Gorgo skirmishers. Skirmishing advantage ought to be pretty straightforward in favor of the Spartans. But I mean, the Celtic slingers can get some work done towards the Gorgos if they are used properly. But yeah, Tylis is a little safer, I think, to split up like this, because Sparta doesn't really have units that can quickly kill you. And that's the main downfall of Sparta. The skirmish units they have are the only things that can kill anything. Now, these 150 pikemen are going to be a tough target for the Celtic slingers if they're in those woods, and they are in the woods. So the Celtic slingers aren't going to have a particularly large amount of luck. There's a Thracian peltist here, interesting choice. Light horse far over here that I missed, so a light horse, noble horse. Looks like 4 raiding horse over here. A lot of infantry for both players, of course. Neither one of these are cav-strong factions, really. Though I would say that Tylis has better cav options. Raiding horsemen, I think, are a little more useful than Tarentine cav. Let's see if the Gorgos... No, the Celtics are just targeting down the Spartan pikemen. And there are 4 Spartan pikes. I don't think the Celtic slingers are going to have the capability to really destroy them. The Gorgo skirmishers are destroying this Celtic slinger. There's another Gorgo skirmisher way out here. Let's just see how this works. So if the Tylis player cannot deal with the pikemen, he could have trouble, because there is reduced javelins in this mod, and there's more pikemen in each unit, and the pikemen could get into a defensive formation and become extremely difficult for Tylis to kill. And he's losing slingers already, so Tylis actually might have to be careful here. These 4 pikemen, I don't know if the rules are against it here, but if they go into a box and you don't have the ammo to break it, you could be in rough shape. Thracian peltist here going to toss a couple versus the pikemen. Not going to be super great use, though, from this far back. I mean, they will get kills, but that's a long ways away to throw those javelins, and it's into a spaghetti line pike unit with decent armor. So we'll see how that goes. Only 11 kills, and they've expended a decent amount of ammo here. The skirmishers are going to keep pushing forward, and Tylis is going to just keep doing a wide outflanking maneuver, pushing all the way around Sparta. So they're going to need something to that effect. I don't know what Sparta can really hope to achieve here. Tylis is just going to refuse to engage the center and then try and bring their forces around the back. And I just don't see where Sparta has the infantry power to really stop Tylis, unless Tylis attacks the pikes head on, which I don't see as likely, obviously. Thracian Peltas took a few shots from the Gorgos. The Gorgos skirmishers are now actually wide open to a light horse, so this is going to be a dangerous scenario, and losing the Gorgos skirmishers would be very, very bad for Sparta at this point. But getting this spread out is going to make it harder for Sparta to prevent this, and sure enough, light cavalry are going to kill a Gorgos skirmisher. The Spartan youth can try and chase them off, but the Celtic horse can easily escape before they're able to do anything. The horse, though, is not even being pulled away from the Gorgos. He's just going to go full throttle. Let's just do this. Is the noble horse going to charge Heroes of Sparta? Yeah, that's not a smart move. They'll knock over the infantry, but that's not a good move from the noble horse. They're going to want to get out of here immediately. If they're just making sure that this tribal warrior gets a charge, that's probably not bad, but I mean, you're going to lose units there for sure. The Heroes of Sparta is extremely tanky versus Cav. All these Tarentine Cav back here, looks like there's been some damage to the raiding horsemen, so that's good for the Spartan player. The pikes continue to push here. Now they're being isolated, though, and that's going to spell doom for the pikes. Yeah, can't protect the Gorgos skirmisher because you get all spread out, so it takes so much work to push pikes that this is the problem. So now the Spartan player is split up, got half his army out here, the other half back here, and neither half can do what it needs to do on its own. So in my mind, that's going to be the problem here. These Tarentine Cav ought to consider actually going into melee here. They don't have very good melee stats, but they do have decent armor and health, I think. But they can't let these raiding horsemen throw javelins into the back of their infantry either. That would be pretty bad. The Spartan youths here chasing off. Yeah, the noble horse is taking some casualties, and if it gets chased by the Tarentine Cav, that could be quite bad. So this is actually pretty bad for the noble horse general. Tarentine Cav, yep, getting this blob of raiding horsemen now. The rear charge of the raiding horsemen is going to do nothing to the Heroes of Sparta, who are actually just beasting this Gallo-Thracian infantry. Doing pretty darn well. Over here, not as great versus the tribal warriors, but they're surviving for now, though. They're not surviving well. The noble horse, though, getting torn down by Tarentine Cav and Spartan youths is a horrendous loss for Tilis, while the pikes just continue to push off the entire army. Royal Spartans chasing away an Oathsworn here. I didn't catch the Oathsworn earlier either. If the Oathsworn ought to want this engagement. But these guys just went into phalanx, and so they should get the benefit of the phalanx and the expert charge defense. Though the Oathsworn will still get kills on the charge, but they're going to get that reflected on them. So the Royal Spartans, they're losing, but not decisively. In fact, they may be winning. Losing slightly is kind of the call there. So yeah, that's the Oathsworn should have just taken the very first charge there rather than maybe trying to cycle charge. Sparta's actually ripped apart Tilis back here, to my surprise. Those Heroes of Sparta performed better than I thought they would. One of them did, at least. So this actually is going to put Tilis in a bit of a crunch, though they're not done yet. This Spartan hoplites is kind of in bad shape. It's getting rear charged. The Spartan general is now taking some pretty steep casualties, and this is the general, as opposed to this is just an Oathsworn. Oathsworn going into Headhunt Shield Wall, which is now going to make it a tough target. Shield Wall, though, is just going to increase the defense of the Oathsworn. The Headhunt will help, but once it wears off, the Royal Spartan might tank that out. It's going to have effectively 40 or 52 attack and 35 damage, and 13 of that's going to be armor piercing because of the bonus versus infantry. So that Royal Spartan is going to be a very tough match for the Oathsworn, since the Oathsworn didn't get all the charges it wants. So the Oathsworn's going to try and get another charge. The Royal Spartan, honestly, might be better off to just stand its ground and let the charge reflection happen. I think they will be, because this Oathsworn's now beat up and exhausted, and so the charge reflection from the Spartans will probably actually do more damage to the Oathsworn than the charge will to the Royal Spartans. And it looks like that was the case, actually. Yeah, it definitely looks like it was the case. So I think those Royal Spartans are actually doing okay. Let's see, this Spartan hoplite's going to easily beat the Levy Freeman after it took care of the Gallo-Thracian, so Sparta is split up all over the place, and I did not see Sparta having a chance at all, but it's actually looking pretty darn good for Sparta at the moment. The only bad thing for Sparta is these Celtic slingers. They could theoretically kill pretty much all of these pikemen back here, and it's going to depend on whether the Spartan general wins this fight. He's winning slightly. The Oathsworn just wrapped around a lot right here, and that could be very bad for the Spartan general. It like pulled through basically. Yeah, they've got an attack order way back here. I don't know how that happened. Yeah, so it looks like a pull through to me, and then trying to charge the Royal Spartans in the back, which actually might work to the Oathsworn's favor. We'll see. Yeah, attacked in the rear now for the Royal Spartans, and if they don't get another attack order, the Oathsworn might very well kill them. That was definitely, I mean, I don't know if it was intentional, but it looked intentional, almost kind of like a pull through there, but we'll see. The Oathsworn did just get another, or the Royal Spartan just got another attack order, so the Oathsworn's probably going to eat it. See if the pikes have actually gotten any kills. 22 on that unit, 30 on this unit. Not a lot of kills on the pikemen, but I mean, they did shove the whole enemy army back. Like, look at these tribal warriors just running away. Let's see what's going on over here. Another tribal warrior really beasting it out versus these heroes of Sparta. The tribal warrior, though, is very low attack and has very nice damage. The Royal Spartans also have nice damage. It's not as high, but I think their AP is better than the tribal warriors. So this will actually probably go against the tribal warriors in the end. They have very solid melee defense, but the Royal Spartans definitely going to have solid morale. Oh yeah, health and morale is going to go in favor of the heroes of Sparta. Let's get up close in this one. See some heroes of Sparta here. These are two very not real high attack units. The attack is higher for the heroes of Sparta, and like I said, I think the AP is going to be better for the heroes of Sparta, especially if they're in a hoplite phalanx, which they are. So that is going to favor the heroes of Sparta there, and these guys have ended up getting quite a few more kills than I thought they would. This tribal warrior turns around to face the Royal Spartan general, who did beast out an entire Oathsworn unit, which is impressive, though he's likely to die to these tribal warriors at this point. But still, 100 plus kills on Oathsworn with the Royal Spartan is not bad. I think the engagement just ended up really favoring the Royal Spartans there because of the way that the charges took place. That's something you got to remember about Royal Spartans. I think on an initial charge, like if Royal Spartans are in spaghetti and the Oathsworn are in a spaghetti line, on the initial charge, I think that favors the Oathsworn. I mean, if the Spartans are completely braced, they will get to reflect that damage, but you know, the Oathsworn hasn't taken any health damage or anything else, and I think that they probably slightly get the better of that charge. But where he pulled out and tried to come in for cycle charges, while that can sometimes be a good plan, part of me, and I don't know this for sure, part of me is just thinking that because of their lowered health at that point, and the fact that they were tired, that the reflection of their charge damage was probably doing more damage to the Oathsworn than their charge was on the Royal Spartans. So I don't know, that's just a guess on my part. I could be wrong. But let's take a look at that. That was surprising. I didn't expect to see Sparta win that, but Tylis just was not able to push the engagements that they needed. So these Spartan hoplites here did okay. Heroes of Sparta did a great job because that's a lower number unit anyway. I thought the Royal Spartans did pretty good taking out an Oathsworn, to be honest. Decent performance out of the Tarentine Cav. The Spartan youths actually did pretty okay too. And pikemen getting any kills is pikemen being almost useful in my opinion. So 115 kills on the mercenary Thracian Peltas. I didn't get to see all those happen, but that's a pretty nice number of kills. Noble horse at 120. I mean, maybe not bad, depends on what they killed. If it was mostly slingers, may not have paid for itself. But I mean, these guys did get caught in a situation that they probably wouldn't have wanted to been in ideally. Let's see. Yeah, the Oathsworn was just not able to take care of business, and neither were the tribal warriors. Gallo-Thracian infantry is a little bit squishy. May not have been a bad idea to just bring more Oathsworn versus Sparta. I mean, that is an interesting one because, I mean, Sparta does have the skirmishing advantage against Tilis, and raiding horsemen are probably all you would want to bring too. The noble horse, probably not the best pick either. This is just hindsight. I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but I would have gone with the Oathsworn general and 2 more Oathsworn here, 4 tribals, and then in here let's go do a large fund so that we can get the right select, cancel large funds. Part of me, honestly, I might just go like that. Do 4 Oathsworn, 4 tribals. And how is Sparta going to stop 4 Oathsworn? They're not easily, at least. And then if you did something like this, get 4 raiding horsemen, and then let's see, Celtic slingers, This right here, I think, is probably as deadly an army as any against Sparta, because Sparta is an infantry-heavy faction, and you're bringing infantry that they're not going to be. How can Sparta handle 4 Oathsworn? I don't think they can. I would have probably preferred bringing something like this. Try and just minimize their skirmisher effect with your raiding horsemen and your Celtic slingers. Sparta does not have effective shock cavalry, so I mean, this would have been a preferred method for me. If you feel like it's just straight overkill, you could cut like a tribal warrior and throw some more spears in, but again, do you really want spears versus Sparta? You could maybe go 4 Oathsworn, maybe a couple of these dudes, the Celtic warriors, just because they have a good charge, would be a good flanking unit, and go like half Celtic, half tribal, and then you'd have more money too, so you could well, that's all the melee infantry you'd be allowed to bring, and at that point, you know, you might be able to turn around and bring like a couple of these spear warriors or something too. Those could be decent units on the flank against just getting around Spartans, or if you just wanted a sheer numbers advantage, again, you could bring a whole bunch of levy freemen, get them around the flank, do some damage. I'm just trying to think of ideas here. You could get a couple of Celtic skirmishers, you get 3 of those guys. If they ended up on the flank, they could be deadly. So I don't know, I think the infantry heavy version would have been a better way to go. Just because you know that Sparta also has to go infantry heavy, and your infantry would be better. I don't know, what do you all think? What do you think of the Spartan army, and what do you think of the Tilis army? Any suggestions, any thoughts? HeirofCarthage signing out for now.